Hello, everyone. A really bad and actually a terrible law has been implemented today in England and Wales. And this is a law to make protests and vigils and silent prayer about abortion outside abortion centres illegal, not just in local laws with public space protection orders like they have been so far, but in national law. So this section 9 of the Public Order Act 2003 has come into force today. So what this means, and the wording of the law here, is that it is now going to be an offence to intentionally or recklessly influences someone's decision to use abortion services, obstruct them, or cause harassment, alarm, or distress to anybody using an abortion center or working at an abortion center. Up to now, there have been cases which have been brought before the courts, but they are on the basis of public space protection orders, which local councils have applied under an earlier law in 2014. It wasn't a national law in England and Wales. The first council to do that was Ealing Council in West London, imposed what they called a buffer zone around an abortion centre in 2018. Up to that point, people had been providing alternatives for women going into the abortion center, rather than saying you don't have any choice but to have your baby killed inside the center. Because if your woman goes in to an abortion center, they kill the baby, they come out, you can't change your mind. The baby is dead, it's gone, it's killed. It's a horrible thing. It's not healthcare. It's a death service. That's what these places are doing. It's not service. It's just a death center. Um, you had Christian groups, Catholic groups, people who care, standing outside abortion centers regularly for 20 years or more, with vigils, having vigils, holding up um, pictures of unborn children and all their majesty, of how God had made them, offering help, financial help, housing, uh, community help for mothers who wanted to just to give them an option to do something different when they might not have thought that there is another option. But that was all stopped in Ealing with this first public space protection order in 2018. And then that spread, and other councils where there are abortion death centres around the UK impose their own public space protection orders, notably Birmingham and Bournemouth, because there have been legal cases there over the last 5 or so years. In Bournemouth, just recently, Adam Smith Connor was taken to court by Bournemouth, Christchurch, and Poole Council, after he was arrested by the local police for silent prayer, just standing quietly praying in his head near an abortion death center. And they arrested him, dragged him through the courts. He was given a conditional discharge, but he was ordered to pay £9,000 in court costs, just for praying in the street. That is a bit inconsistent with what happened in Birmingham, because another person who I know, Isabel Vaughan Spruce, who's fantastic at fighting and campaigning for free speech, and the right to support the right to life for unborn children, did the same thing. She was praying silently, in her head near a death center in Birmingham, and she was arrested. She was charged and dragged through the courts. The charges were dropped, and she was then awarded £13,000 for wrongful arrest, because she then sued the police and complained. So she was awarded um, money there for wrongful arrest. But, at the time, people were saying this is ridiculous. This is absolutely an insane, tyrannical Orwellian attack on free speech. It's not even speech. It's just praying in your head has become a crime where the police are going to arrest you and drag you through the courts. So we had there first Isabel in Birmingham arrested. The charges were dropped. We had Adam there in Bournemouth. He was arrested and he got fined. Well, he didn't get fined. He had to pay a massive amount of court costs. But the council apparently spent £100,000 of taxpayers' money pursuing him through the courts for praying in his head on the street. I mean, this wouldn't happen. No, I doubt that would happen in China, for goodness sake. I mean, I don't know. But the fact that this is happening in England is utterly erroneous and tyrannical and totalitarian. But we've got this extra legislation, this new legislation today. So from now on in England and Wales, there's a blanket ban on all of this activity to try to save lives outside baby killing centres, which has come from the fake Conservative government with their Public Order Act, obviously with a Labour-led amendment to that, but the MPs voted overwhelmingly in favour of that amendment and keeping it in the Public Order Act. And although silent prayer is not specifically mentioned in the wording of this section of the new Public Order Act, the fact is that anybody who's going into a baby killing center or who works in a baby killing center can phone up the police and they can complain, make a complaint that there's someone outside there and we feel alarmed, we feel harassed, we feel alarm, harassment, and distress by someone just standing near a death center and praying in their heads. They're not necessarily showing any picture or something, that would obviously be, people would be arrested straight away for holding up a picture of an unborn child. I mean, that's ridiculous enough in itself. But the fact that someone can complain about you because they think you might be praying quietly in your head, and then the police will come and arrest you, and you can be dragged through the courts, and the penalty is an unlimited fine. You can be fined anything. You could be fined thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds, and then if you don't pay, you'll be in contempt of court, and then you'll end up in jail. So that's how it will work. And they will. There's a saying here that this is lawfare, and in lawfare against people, the process is the punishment. So they harass you, the police harass you just for praying in your head, and then they lay all kinds of fear on you, drag you through the courts for ages, threaten you with this fine and that fine and these costs and whatever, and then they try to destroy your life. This is what these people are wanting to do. And the people I'm talking about here are all the people involved in killing unborn children and their supporters in Parliament and in the various agents of the state, whether it's the police, the judiciary, the Crown Prosecution Service, who are that way inclined. And so they are making war on freedom, and they're making war on what's in your head. It's a war on Christianity and goodness and standing up for life and the right to life of every human being from conception to the grave, which is what I stand for, and what the Heritage Party stands for as well. Now, we don't specifically have a policy on this, on buffer zones, because our policy is to abolish abortion completely. So there wouldn't be an issue here, because there wouldn't be any buffer zones under the Heritage Party, because there wouldn't be any abortion centres where babies are killed, because that needs to go into the dustbin of history, like slavery. I think there's going to come a time when people realise that killing unborn children is so abhorrent, and what we've been doing in this country for the last, since, what is it, nearly 60 years, since 1967, the last 57 years here in the UK, has been absolutely deplorable and despicable, and it will come to an end. But right now we have this dreadful law, and we've got a dreadful new regime in the UK, the Starmer regime, the far left Labour Party. That's got nothing to do with labouring man anymore, any more than the fake Conservatives are conservative. They're not. And they are cheering along all of this um, attack on freedom and this attack on life, and they need to be gone as soon as is possible. We stand completely against this new law that is being enforced today, that is going to make prayer and showing signs that help women to choose not to kill their children if they can possibly have a choice. Um, the move to make this illegal and to make it criminal is absolutely deplorable. You know, this in the United States, there is the First Amendment. So there is complete freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So something like this could not come in as a law in the United States. You know, even Germany allows people to have freedom of speech and freedom of expression near abortion centers if they want to offer advice to women to try to help them to keep their children. The people are allowed to do that. Even in Germany, ultra progressive Germany, they're allowed to do that. But here in the UK, every part of the UK now has this draconian legislation in place, which is called buffer zones or safe zones, as they say. But these safe zones around abortion centers are not safe for the children who are being killed and pulled apart by the abortionists' death tools. And it needs to stop.